compared to what we have. So basically, I think what we are doing is, don't let us, as much as I don't want us to belabor the issue, but the issue is that we should see ourselves and Nigeria. I heard him talking about what what they actually want. We need to define. And that is what I say. We need to define. The whole issue is we need to end foreign exchange.
So what the CBN
is happening? Sorry,
yes.
Marco. What exactly is happening now? Break it down for Nigerians.
Yeah.
With your card when you're abroad, what can you do with it? What are the restrictions? What are those, things that you can't and you can't do with your card?
You see, your card, personally, your bank issued your card to you. And that is why some of the banks will tell you, let me know when you are traveling. Because the obligation of meeting whatever you spent overseas depends on your bank. And I will tell you, a bank may have what we can call a free fund of 5 million, which they are ready to use, while another bank has 1 million. A bank who has 1 million will not give you that latitude of spending more than a particular amount of your card overseas. Whereas a bank who has 5 million as free fund, which is ready to use to meet your expenditure, can say, okay, you can spend X amount. So it is not uniform. If you are going, you need to know, because it is the responsibility of your bank. It's not that of the central bank.
How healthy are these banks? Because when we talk in this manner, it means it may indicate that some of these banks are unhealthy. Or
no. The banks,
if you tie it to the amount you think that you have somewhere, so that when someone
no. You see, don't forget we have grade A banks, we have B banks. All the banks are not on the same, so that actually distinguishes them. We have the big banks. We cannot compare the balance sheet of First Bank, Zenith, UBA to other medium banks. So if a bank like First Bank is having 5 million, you don't expect the other smaller bank to have the same amount. So that determines what they can do.
What's still the withdrawal limit for someone using his Nigerian card abroad?
That's why I say it varies from bank to bank. It's not fixed by central bank.
Okay, now the central bank is trying to ensure that we're all looking words. I mean, essentially that would seem to be the thrust of this particular policy, but you can't do it alone. Yes. People also talk about interest rates. If you want people to be able to invest in this economy, the interest rates must also be favorable. Has the TSA had any effect whatsoever on interest rates?
Yeah, we will not say it has, because basically we won't say the interest rate has gone up. And you remember the last MPC, as a matter of fact, we lowered the MPR, which means that we refunded money to the banks. And as I speak to you, the banks have liquidity. But the issue has always been with the bank is, what are the associated risks for the projects we want to go into? Because they are ready to fund projects, but the issue is, these projects, are they viable? Because it's one thing for people to say people have they have money and they want, the banks are not funding. But the project proposals we are presenting, is it viable? As I speak with you today, I can assure you that the banks have nothing. Their opening balance today cannot be less than 1 trillion naira. So there is liquidity in the system. The interest rate has come down. And if you follow the interbank rate, you find out that interbank rate over a long period of time has actually been in the range of 1.something%. And some banks have dropped their lending rate. So central bank, as a matter of fact, and the whole essence of this is to encourage the banks to be able to lend. Yeah. So that is...
Speaking about lending, because we've heard some of them say, look, the reason why we only give short-term loans is because we don't get long-term loans from the CBN. Is that correct?
The CBN is not established to give long-term loans to banks. You see, the CBN just comes in as a stopgap measure, and that is why you say if a bank runs short of money, that is why we provide an overnight facility. CBN is not actually cut. If a bank starts going for long-term loan from central bank, then there's an issue.
So as it is today,
yes,
why are the banks not able to give long-term loans to companies?
Yes, you see, the banks are not structured. Commercial banks are not structured to give long-term loans because of the nature of their own deposit too. Because, and that is why in most cases you have development banks that are supposed to take on this responsibility.
But they're not.
those, well, I wouldn't know, Bank of Industry, they are supposed to be doing that because of the tenor of the funds they have. Mind you, the banks...
Why wouldn't you know if they're doing that? Because
your CBN.
Your CBN, you should know.
No, they are, but it's the issue of how many people they are giving to. We know they are doing that. I know Bank of Industry is giving out loan, but the issue is whether the volume and then the number of people who have benefited, because those are those who are structured to actually do that.
Well, today we see that the House of Reps, as you see in the front page, the reps to CBN, banks must refund COT charges. Have you heard about that, and what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, it's COT charges. Mind you that there was an agreement that from 2016 that banks are actually going to charge 0 COT. And we have this is the first month. So we believe that the banks are going to actually abide by that rule, since it was an agreement taken by the Bankers Committee that from 2016 there should be no COT, and I don't think that has changed.
So it's not that they will refund the previous COT?
No, there was the previous COT. The COT was supposed to be charged up till the end until the end of 2015.
There was no influence of CBN policy on that?
No, this was something that has been outlined. We have a 3-year program on that we culminated in the 0 COT this year. There has been a gradual reduction.
Why do we charge COT in this country in the first place?
Why do we charge COT?
Yeah.
COT has been on, which is supposed to be on the transaction, cost on transaction. And mind you, for some activities which you do, which you just swipe your card, there's also payment. Somebody is paying for something. But the issue now is that given the way technology is going, and the argument then, sincerely, is not that there is no cost incurred on your transaction. But the only thing, and the argument then was that, look, I remember the governor of Central Bank then convinced the bank that, look, you make money. Why don't you refund a little of this back to the society or to your customer? And that is the whole idea of actually reducing the COT over time and ending up in 0.
No, many have actually argued that, look, in other countries where they bank across the world, they don't charge that COT clearly, where they tell you, this is separate. COT, you paid this one. So.
Yeah. But that is where we are going to, because you see, we need to actually. People are very quick to say that. But if you know where we are coming from,
but you said it too. You said it's only in Nigeria that CBN does or funds BDC. So
that's what I'm saying. That is the issue. If you know where we are coming from, you know that the financial system has really evolved over time, and the beauty of it is that at least we are moving, and everybody acknowledges that the financial system in Nigeria is strong, and then we are progressing, and then we just still hope to continue to improve over time.
All right. Is the CBN planning to ban more items?
Well, the issue, you see, depending on from which perspective you see it, I'm sure that if you read the papers, you see some segment of the economy saying add more to the list. Add more to the list.
Some segments are saying this is not effective. They think that they only encourage smuggling.
You see, when you say they encourage smuggling, the central bank cannot control smuggling. There is an agency that is supposed to do that, because with all intent and purposes, this is actually meant to help the domestic economy. And I think all we need to do is that all agencies of government must do everything they can to actually make sure that this works, because it's in the interest of the Nigerian economy.
Why do I think that the CBN looks a little interested in those papers you say are saying add more?
No, it's like you said, Admo, we've had meetings. We had meetings with all the stakeholders. Even at the same meeting, some submitted additional list, while some are saying remove some. So you see, but the issue is that...
Do we manufacture those things in this country, the ones that say you should add?
Yeah, if they believe, people manufacture them. People do. Because you see, what we just need to do is just add a little value, and then you create the necessary job that we think we need to create down the line, and it becomes good for all of us.
Mr. Manuel KJ, Director of Financial Markets of the CBN, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we will be back in just a moment, and then we'll turn our attention to some other matter. should be of interest as well to the society. So don't go away.